Hi, my name is Emily, and I want to tell you a story about my journey to speak English better. I live in a small town in the USA, surrounded by tall trees and friendly neighbors. When I was a child, I always dreamed of speaking English fluently. I loved hearing stories from my friends and reading books filled with adventures. I wanted to be a part of those stories, but I was often shy about speaking. One sunny day, I decided it was time to change that. I was sitting in my favorite spot in the garden, where the flowers danced with the wind. I whispered to myself, "Emily, you can do this." I remembered a tip my teacher had given me: practice makes perfect. So I began to talk to myself. I picked a flower and named it Daisy. "Hello, Daisy. How are you today?" I asked with a big smile. Talking to flowers may seem silly, but it helped me feel more comfortable. Each time I spoke, I grew more confident. I thought about the words I wanted to say and how to say them. I learned that using simple words was a great way to start. I focused on my favorite topics, like animals and my hobbies. Daisy, I love cats. They are so soft and funny. I felt like I was having a real conversation, even if it was just with a flower. As I practiced, I also remembered my friend Jake. He was a great help in my journey. He always encouraged me to speak more. One day we were sitting on the porch, and I told him, "Jake, I want to speak English better. Can you help me?" His eyes lit up, and he said, "Of course, Emily. Let's practice together." We made a plan to meet every day after school to talk in English. Our conversations were fun and silly. Sometimes we pretended to be characters from our favorite movies. "I am a superhero," Jake shouted, "and I will save the world." I laughed and replied, "I will be your sidekick." And together we can do anything. Through these playful moments, I learned that speaking should be enjoyable. I didn't have to worry about making mistakes. As the weeks went by, I noticed something amazing. I was becoming more fluent. I could express my thoughts and feelings more easily. One day, I decided to share my favorite story with Jake. Once upon a time, there was a brave knight. I started. As I told the story, I could see Jake's eyes wide with interest. "Wow, Emily, that was amazing. You are getting really good at this," he said, making me feel proud. I realized that sharing stories was another great way to practice. Stories helped me remember words and sentences. I also learned to listen carefully when others spoke. I loved listening to my teacher, Mrs. Johnson. She spoke clearly and with a warm voice. When she read stories aloud, I felt like I was in another world. I would often think, "I want to speak like her one day." Another tip I learned was to watch movies and shows in English. I remember the first movie I watched. It was a funny cartoon about a little penguin named Pingu. I laughed so hard. I loved how the characters talked to each other. I would pause the movie to repeat their lines. Pingu, let's go play, I said, imitating the voice of the penguin. It was a fun way to learn new words and phrases. In addition to watching movies, I also listened to music. One day, I heard a catchy song by Taylor Swift. I loved the melody and the words. I played it over and over, singing along. I'm feeling 22, I sang at the top of my lungs. Singing helped me with pronunciation. I learned how to say words more clearly and confidently. Music was not just fun, it became an essential part of my learning. As time passed, my confidence grew. I began to join more activities at school. I tried out for the school play. I was so nervous, but I told myself, you can do this. Emily, I practiced my lines every day. When I got a role, I was overjoyed. The play was about friendship, and I had to speak a lot. Friendship is the best treasure, my character would say. On the night of the performance, I felt butterflies in my stomach, but I took a deep breath and remembered all my practice. When I stepped onto the stage, I could see my friends and family in the audience. I smiled at them and started speaking. Each word flowed from me like a gentle stream. I felt like a star. After the play, my friends congratulated me. You were fantastic, Emily, they cheered. I realized that taking risks was essential to learning. One day, while walking home from school, I saw a little girl sitting alone on a bench. She looked sad, so I decided to say hello. Hi there, my name is Emily. What's your name? I asked. She looked up, surprised, and replied, I'm Mia. I sat beside her and asked, Are you okay, Mia? We started talking, and I learned that she was new to town and was nervous about making friends. I remembered how I felt when I started learning English. I told her, it's okay to be nervous. I felt the same way. But talking helps. Let's be friends, Mia smiled, and we chatted about our favorite games. That day, I learned another important lesson: helping others can also improve my speaking skills. Encouraging someone else made me feel more confident in my abilities. As the seasons changed, so did my speaking skills. I was no longer the shy girl who spoke softly. I loved to express my ideas and opinions. My friends would ask me for advice, and I felt proud to help them. Emily, how do I say this in English? They would ask. I enjoyed being a resource for others, and it made me realize that learning is a journey we share. One afternoon, I attended a community event in our town. It was a fair filled with laughter and fun. There were games, food, and many people. I spotted a booth where people were sharing stories. I gathered my courage and approached them. Hi, can I share a story too? I asked. They welcomed me with smiles. I told a funny story about my cat, Max, who always tried to catch the laser pointer. Everyone laughed, and I felt a warm glow in my heart. Sharing stories with different people made me feel connected. I learned that speaking English was not just about the language, it was about sharing moments and building relationships. As my journey continued, I discovered the power of reading. I started reading books every day. My favorite book was about a young girl who traveled the world. I imagined all the places she visited and the friends she made. Reading opened my mind and enriched my vocabulary. I would underline new words and practice using them in sentences. One day, I had a great idea. I decided to start a book club with my friends. We could read and discuss our favorite stories together. Let's meet every week and share what we read, I suggested. My friends loved the idea, and soon we gathered at my house with snacks and smiles. We took turns reading aloud and talking about our thoughts. Through the book club, I learned to express my opinions clearly. I loved this character because she was brave, I would say, and my friends would share their thoughts too. It felt wonderful to share ideas and learn from one another. Reading together brought us closer and made us better speakers. I also began to write my stories. I kept a journal where I wrote about my day, my feelings, and my dreams. Writing helped me organize my thoughts and practice my language skills. One day, I wrote a short story about a magical forest. I shared it with my family, and they loved it. "You have a talent," Emily, my mom, said. With each story I wrote, my confidence grew. I learned that my words had power. They could inspire, make people laugh, or even make them think. I began to realize that speaking English was not just about grammar, it was about creativity and expression. As the school year came to an end, I reflected on how far I had come. I remembered the shy girl in the garden, talking to flowers. I felt grateful for all the people who had supported me. My friends, family, and teachers had played essential roles in my journey. On the last day of school, we had a celebration. I stood in front of my classmates and said, "Thank you all for being part of my journey. I learned so much from each of you." They clapped and cheered, and I felt a wave of happiness wash over me. Speaking in front of them felt like a dream come true. I also realized that learning never stops. I wanted to continue improving my English. I set new goals for myself. I will read more books, write more stories, and travel to new places I promised myself. Each day would be a new opportunity to learn and grow. I kept practicing every day. I spoke with friends, read new stories, and even started a YouTube channel where I shared my favorite books and tips for learning English. I loved creating videos and connecting with people worldwide. Hello everyone, I'm Emily, and today I want to share a story with you, I would say with excitement. Through my channel, I met many wonderful people. They shared their journeys and encouraged me. We supported each other, and I felt a sense of community. I learned that speaking English was not just a personal journey, it was a shared experience with others. As I continued to grow, I discovered the beauty of culture. I learned about different countries and their languages. I made friends from around the world. Tell me about your culture, I would ask, eager to learn. We exchanged stories, traditions, and laughter, and I realized how language connects us all. One day, I decided to host an international potluck with my friends. Everyone brought a dish from their culture. We gathered in my backyard, filled with delicious food and joyful conversations. "This is so tasty," I exclaimed as I tried a dish from my friend Sophia. It was a spicy dish from her home country, and it made me smile. At that moment, I understood that learning English was not just about the words, it was about understanding and appreciating diversity. Language is a bridge that brings people together, and I felt grateful to be a part of it. As the years went by, my journey continued. I faced challenges and moments of doubt, but I always remembered why I started. I would think about Daisy, my flower friend, and how far I had come. I never gave up. Instead, I embraced every opportunity to learn and connect with others. In college, I took part in public speaking events. Standing on stage felt both scary and exciting. I learned how to share my ideas with passion and clarity. Today, I want to talk about the power of words, I would say, feeling the energy in the room. The applause I received made me realize how far I had come. I also volunteered to teach English to children in my community. "Let's have fun learning together," I told them. Seeing their smiles as they learned new words brought me joy. I understood the importance of passing on knowledge and helping others in their journeys. Eventually, I became a mentor for students learning English. I would say, "Believe in yourself. You can do this." I shared my stories and encouraged them to keep practicing. Remember, every word you speak is a step forward. I felt proud to be a part of their journeys, just like others had been part of mine. Looking back, I realized that learning to speak English had transformed my life. It had opened doors to new friendships, experiences, and opportunities. Each conversation, each story, and each laugh had shaped who I am today. I continue to learn and grow every day. I believe that language is a beautiful gift that connects us all. So, if you ever feel shy or unsure, remember my story. Take a deep breath, speak to a flower, or share a story with a friend. You have the power to express yourself and make a difference in the world. This is just a beginning of the story, and it captures the essence of learning to talk in English through personal experiences and tips. If you'd like, I can continue the story or focus on specific parts of it. Let me know. And now,